What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So for this horror news update, Jigsaw directors to helm contemporary Headless Horseman film Headless. Now, I think a contemporary take on this story, I think, is going to be tough. I think it's going to be a hard sell because so many of us, when it comes to this particular story, are so used to it, I guess, being more of that period piece, that slash fantasy type aspect, as we see from just this image here, which I believe is from it's from the 1999 film Sleepy Hollow, which I think is not the last film that was done surrounding the Headless Horseman, but it is one of the few. I think there's been roughly 5 or 6. With the first one, I think the first one going back as far as the early 1920s. But again, it's not a character or story that's regularly gone after, I guess, so to speak, where there's been various interpretations or versions on it. Again, there's only been a handful of attempts at this story from a big film perspective. And I think, again, as I just mentioned, the 99 film with Johnny Depp, and they got Christopher Walken to play the Headless Horseman in Sleepy Hollow. I think that's probably one of the most known last attempts at this film, or this story. If someone were to ask, what was the last time you saw a Headless Horseman film or anything around the character? Again, I think many people are going to reference back to that one. But now they're going, I think, as I've mentioned in many other things, it seems like Hollywood and studios keep going back to the well until they are going to just drain it dry when it comes to going back to things that have already been done, already been attempted, and they're just going to keep trying to modernize things over and over and over again. Now, with that said, this story hasn't been attempted as many times as many others. So, but the fact that they're going to be doing a contemporary version of this, hopefully the article will give us some insights as to what that might look like, because otherwise I'm a little skeptical on what this could turn out to be. So, as the headline mentioned, Jigsaw directors to helm contemporary Headless Horseman film. Looks like it's going to be called Headless. So, as we always do, let's jump into the article, see what details are going to give us, and then we'll obviously give our opinions as we go. As I already mentioned, this is an image from Sleepy Hollow, the 1999 film with Johnny Depp, Christopher Walken in it. I'm sure many of you have seen that film already. All right, so let's zoom in on this a little bit. The Spierig brothers will direct a contemporary re-imaging of the Headless Horseman mythology titled Headless, Deadline reports. In the upcoming horror movie, a rudderless hitchhiker and a driven woman avenging her family's death must stop a motorcycle riding semi-immortal ghoul that feeds off the carnage it causes on desert highways by decapitating it and getting its head far enough away, long enough from its relentlessly pursuant still living body. We're coming back to that because I'm already just shaking my head. With nods to Mad Max and The Terminator, the script is written by Shane Armstrong and S.P. Krause, developed with support from Screen Queensland. The film is produced by Chris Brown for his Picture in Paradise, Martin Metz for Rosewood Pictures, and Diana Leigh Dean. Cameras and heads are due to roll in Australia later this year. Okay, so it sounds like that's probably why they're also giving it a nod on the Mad Max aspect. The Headless Horseman has appeared in European folklore dating back to the Middle Ages. The myths have inspired a number of stories and culture around the world, most notably Washington Irving's The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. And that's where the article ends. So obviously not much to go by. But we do get an idea of what the synopsis or what the take or in reinterpretation, contemporary vision is going to look like. I'm gonna say, if this is, obviously we have nothing to go by. We don't have a teaser. We don't have any images, no full trailer, but all we have is this brief synopsis, which this could absolutely change by the time, if this does in fact follow through, get the full green light, go into, post-production, get film, pre-production, film, post-production, actually gets fully released. I'm not fully sold on this contemporary version. I'm for one, you guys have heard me say this time and time again, I love period piece films in general. I love period piece horror films, but period piece films overall I do enjoy. So when we got Sleepy Hollow, I enjoyed that. It felt like a period piece film. Obviously, it was based on this, so they had that horror fantasy aspect to it. But nonetheless, it was that period piece aspect I always enjoyed. With this, though, they said they're giving nods to Mad Max and the Terminator. That's quite the mix, because if you've seen the original Mad Max, the first film, many people don't like that film. Many people feel that even though that is a classic film, especially for Australian cinema, it's not well liked. Many people by far like the second film, Road Warrior. And then when they did the third film, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, many people didn't like that film. They always feel like of those original 3 films, because then of course we got the remake, so to speak. I don't know if it really is a remake or a continuation with Tom Hardy. I kind of looked at it as a completely separate story. I don't see that really tied to the original 3. Many people of that original 3 only look at Road Warrior and that's it. Some have a little bit of love for the third film because of the Thunderdome scenes, but the first film, many people just skip it over. They feel the story is just bland. There's a few chase action sequences in it, but beyond that, it's just not a good film. And if that's your opinion, I appreciate that, I accept that, but I think if you go back and watch it for what it is, for the time it was done and what was being done in cinema, especially in Australia at the time, I think it's a great film. But yeah, Road Warrior, obviously, even in my opinion, is far superior than the first one. So the fact that they're going to be doing some nods to Mad Max, which I assume is going to possibly just be that original film, and the Terminator, that's 2 very different films. I mean, Mad Max, neither one of these really being a horror. I mean, you can consider the Terminator sci-fi horror, which I kind of do, but Mad Max in no way is a horror film, unless they're really going for that end of the world type aspect. Maybe that's what they're going for. Otherwise, I don't see how Mad Max is really playing into this interpretation of the Headless Horseman, now called Headless. Now, it does talk about here desert highways, and that aspect, which in Road Warrior, that was very much a thing. You had these desert highways, especially the last sequence of that film. When they're in the semi and they're being chased because they all think the gasoline is in this tanker and it was filled with dirt, right? So, unless we're talking about sequences like that, I'm not sold on this synopsis, though. It just seems very, I don't know, just seems a little bit not so much Headless Horseman. Just seems like another just highway type horror killer slasher action film. So we'll have to wait and see. Like I said, very early on in this is one of the first reports we're getting about this new interpretation, new take, contemporary take for Headless Horseman called Headless. So as we get more news, I'm sure throughout the year, we'll be sure to cover it. And of course, if this gets fast tracked and we start getting some, maybe later in the year, towards the end of the year, we get a teaser or a full trailer, we'll make sure to cover that. But that's going to do it. This was a pretty quick horror news update, so that's going to do it for this one, though. Like I said, pretty quick one. Just thought I'd let everyone be aware of that if you're a fan of the original story. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let us know what you think about a contemporary take on Headless Horseman. Again, I'm not fully sold on it. I'm not even close to being sold on it just based on that synopsis we got on what the story is going to be like. But I can be swayed. I can be proven wrong if once we get some images, some casting, and some things to really round this out. So it's very early on. So drop a comment in the comment section. Let us know what you think. And if you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, we'll see you at the next one. Later.